In section 4, we shall discuss the significance of using process approach for OHS management system performance and auditing. We shall also discuss about process mapping or process flow diagram and how they can be used for improving OHS management systems efficiency and effectiveness. Although ISO 45001 has not specifically mentioned the process approach as is mentioned in ISO 9001, I believe understanding the process approach will help you as future auditors to conduct audits having value addition. Let's discuss process approach. ISO 9001 has explained the process approach as follows. Understanding and managing interrelated processes as a system contributes to the organization's effectiveness and efficiency in achieving its intended results. This approach enables the organizations to control the interrelationships and interdependencies among the processes of the system so that the overall performance of the organization can be enhanced. The process approach involves the systematic definition and management of processes and their interactions as to achieve the intended results, which in plain language can be interpreted like this. To understand a system, it's better to understand its processes and the way they interconnect with each other and how the output from one process is used as an input in other processes. That is the interdependence of the processes. This way you can improve the system performance in terms of both effectiveness and efficiency. If you are confused about how the output of one process can be used as input in another process, then just imagine the inspection and audit process as process number 1. Now to carry out the analysis and evaluation as part of the management review process, for example process 2, you need output from process 1, that is results of the inspections and audit. Process 2 is directly connected to process 1 and is also dependent on process 1. If inspection and audit process produces poor results, then the management review process, which is dependent on process 1, will also have poor performance. Anyways, we were discussing the process approach, which you must have somehow understood by the previous example. To understand the process approach in detail, let's assume the car engine as a system. A mechanic will use process approach to narrow down the exact process, for example ignition, combustion, exhaust, EFI, carburetor or any other process of the engine to identify the problem. Without following the process approach, the mechanic can never repair the engine fault. Likewise, a management system must be broken down into processes and may be further broken down into activities to identify what part of the system is poor performing. Directing resources to the exact ineffective or inefficient activity or process will improve the system's performance. Otherwise, the organizations will keep on wasting resources on processes that are already performing well. Process mapping is a visual representation of a process and shows how various activities interact within a process and also shows process flows. Process map provides complete visibility of the whole process and makes it easy for the decision makers to identify inefficiencies and ineffectiveness within the process. It also shows the interdependencies of various activities within a process. Process maps are also used to establish the KPIs and performance standards for each activity. Once the performance standards are established, the resources required is also identified. The results of the measurements are then compared against the performance standards and corrective actions are taken accordingly to improve the performance of the process. Once the decision makers have complete visibility of the process, they can identify the foreseeable risks and take preventive actions. Let's consider the OHS risk management process. The process flow diagram for risk management process is being shown. The first step is hazard identification. The output from the hazard identification becomes the input for the next stage of the process, which is the risk assessment. Once risk is assessed, then suitable control measures are implemented to control the OHS risks as per the organizational requirements. The risk control strategy may differ from one organization to another. Some may wish to achieve high OHS performance, while others may be contented with lower OHS performance. As the risk control measures require resources, the organizations therefore measure the effectiveness of the risk control measures to ensure the resources are not being wasted. The next stage is the analysis of measurement results, that is, to identify any trends and patterns which may lead to significant conclusions regarding the implemented control strategies. The next stage is to evaluate and review the analyzed data to confirm if the proposed controls have been effective and financially efficient, and if not, what were the reasons. If the risk management process is not effective and efficient, then it is likely that any one or more of the previous stages shall be inefficient and ineffective. For example, the hazard identification and risk assessment process is effective, but the risk control strategy is being implemented ineffectively and inefficiently. So only risk control stage shall be focused without changing the first two stages. This is the benefit of process flow diagram, that we have a visual representation of the processes and we shall review each stage to identify the inefficiency or ineffectiveness.